Hello guys, welcome back. This is the second video of Amazon Web Service for CI/CD integration. So when your instance is up and running, I'll tell you how do you connect from the PEM file which you downloaded, which is a key pair to make sure you have a secured shell connection. So SSH means secured shell connection, and with the algorithm called RSA, that is Ramarshimmer algorithm. That is why they have given you a PEM file so that you authenticate with the PEM file and log into this particular virtual machine. Now there are two ways to connect to a virtual machine. There is directly from console of Amazon. So you can say just click on connect and click on connect. So this is one way. Now you can communicate to the particular machine using this console with the UI interface of the Amazon Web Service. Okay, so you can see this. It is loading. It is establishing connection between the virtual instance through the Amazon Web Service console. Okay, it's taking a little bit of time. Great. So you can see we have connected to the console. Let's say pwd. Yeah, we are in home/ubuntu. Let's say who am I? Who am I? It should say Ubuntu. Very good. Let's say what is the list files? It is zero. It should say zero files. Okay, these are the hidden folders and an SSH uh, hidden folder where your authorized keys are stored. So if I go into .ssh, right, and do a list all files, so you can see your authorized files. Now this authorized files have a copy of your public key which you have downloaded as a private key. Now your private key needs is required to connect to this particular machine using the authorized keys. So I'll be showing you through the Visual Studio Code. Give me a second. So this is my Visual Studio Code, and there's a project called DevOps project in my GitHub. I'll be sharing down the link below. Now for now it's private. When I publish all the videos, it'll be public so that you can access this particular repository. And we have the Jenkins file. So when I do, why git ignore? The git ignore is to ignore the files from the cloud repository. Okay, so that because I'm safe and secure that my private key is not exposed to anybody. Let's connect to our machine using the SSH connection. So I will go back to my instances and I'll copy my public IP. Okay. Now, before copying it, you need to make sure you have a Linux terminal. So this is WSL terminal, which I have introduced in my Visual Studio Code. To know more of WSL, please comment down and subscribe and like this channel. Okay. So what is the next step? Let's see if my SSH service is active or not. So what do? I write service. Okay. SSH status. Okay, so it says usage. Okay, I've written a wrong command. Let me write status. So it says that your sshd is installed and up and running. So if you have not installed, make sure for which operating system you're doing. For Windows there are separate putty sessions. For Linux you can, if it is an Ubuntu, you have to do an apt-get install ssh, or else what you have to do, if it is a Red Hat, you do yum install, right? So there are multiple package management for various operating system. For Ubuntu, for now SSH is up and running. Let's use the SSH service. So I will say SSH -i, and what is the key I'm going to use? I'll be using Jenkins PEM for Ubuntu user. User is what? So you can see the username. The username is Ubuntu, right? So I'll just copy it. Okay, I'll paste it here at at about and the IP address of this particular virtual machine. So this is the virtual machine IP. Let me copy, and it will only allow me because I have the private key with me. So if you don't have the private key with yourself, so you won't be able to log in. So it'll ask me a few questions. Yes, I want a fingerprint. Okay. So now what is this error? It says that your PEM key has the particular permissions which are open. The permissions are like for others. There are particular Linux file permissions like for users and for groups and for others. There are three parts for a file permission. Now let's check what is the file permission for Jenkins PEM. You can see the others has read capability. Okay, so we shouldn't give read capability for others. So what we will do, chmod. Okay, so we will say 600 for Jenkins. Okay, then we'll do ll. Okay, so others and groups do not have the write capability. Now the Jenkins PEM file can only be read by the Ubuntu user and the user who who is the owner of this particular file. Okay, let me just clear the terminal and use the PEM file to log in. So it's connecting. See, what does it say? Welcome to Ubuntu. So I'm just connected to my virtual machine using my local Visual Studio Code using WSL. So I can remotely handle my virtual machine using this by the help of sshd, that is secure shell tool. Okay, let me see pwd Ubuntu. Who am I? Very good. If you want to still if config, okay, to make sure what is your IP. So if config is not installed, we can install it by giving this. It'll take a while. Okay, awesome. It's done. Let's check now. So it says 172.314.154, right? If I go into my console and just write if config, come out of the terminal, if con, so instead of logging in directly from your console, you can do a remote login to this particular machine. So using SSH keys. So that's the power of SSH. Okay. So if I say LL, so it has the particular SSH where all your authorized keys are there. Now, if I want to exit from my remote shell, I will say so. So I'm back to my machine. So this is how SSH is done. So please be in touch because I'm going to release the next video where I will show you how do you install Jenkins in a virtual machine using Docker, and how do you run a CI/CD tool Jenkins in that remote machine, and how do you configure jobs. Thank you. Stay tuned.